Today's show is brought to you by tintackers.com, your source for sweet aluminum beer signs from your favorite craft breweries. tintackers.com carries hundreds of official brewery signs you can choose from to enhance your brew room, bar, or lounge area. Make your walls happy by visiting tintackers.com today. Use our promo code HOMEBREWER to receive $10 off your first order over $30. That's tintackers.com, promo code HOMEBREWER.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Hanging out with Tyler and Laurie from the Brew'd Up Podcast. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 231. Hello and welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question that you would like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the submit a question link at the top of the page. Or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Stubing. Today, I have a very special, y'all are on the screen now, don't make funny faces at me or whatever. I have a very special guest with me today, Tyler and Laurie. They are homebrewers living and brewing in Southern California. They're also the stars of the Brew'd Up Podcast, which is a great show. I listen every other week. No, I'm kidding. I love y'all's show. I actually thought, I'll kill the music. Y'all don't want to care about the music. First off, thank you, Tyler and Laurie, both for coming on the show. Y'all did this literally last minute. I greatly appreciate y'all, so thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Todd has me trained to stop asking people, how's it going? So I'm not going to ask you, how's it going? But
what? That's so rude.
I don't even want to tell you. So.
Okay. Yeah,
kidding.
I like your honesty. Todd thinks it's so manufactured. I'm like, so hey guys, how are you doing? And he's like, oh, do you really want to know, with the cigarette in his mouth? And
well, maybe when you ask Todd, because you always know how he's doing. But we're new people.
Yeah, that's true. So it's been super last minute. I appreciate y'all coming on. How is it going? How's it there in beautiful Southern California? I'm always jealous of y'all's weather. Or is it hot right now?
No, it's super nice day. Actually, a little warm.
It was,
how about for you, Tyler, in the Val?
Yeah, it's a little bit colder than normal. It's a little overcast, but it's nice. It's like 70, sunny, beautiful.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah,
but soon it'll be torturous. I mean, that day's coming up.
She's gonna fire it up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, California though, still, I'm always envious of the scenery and of the weather. It's a beautiful state. We were so looking forward to HomebrewCon in San Diego. Thanks a lot, American Homebrewers Association. They sponsor y'all's show, right? I should be nice to them.
Shout out.
We're still devastated.
Yeah, they're good. I love the AHA, and we're actually doing a presentation this year on Herm system, brewing on our Herm system.
Very cool.
I don't know if you've heard, we're releasing a Herm system soon, so it was kind of on brand for us to do a talk with them. So
now, hold on. The Herm system is sort of like a regulator, you can immerse it into the wort to the mash.
So yeah, so it's what is? Oh, now I can't think of what the H.
What are you even selling?
I know
it's a recirculation.
What's the H and the E? Something electric recirculating mash system. But what is the H? Heat something.
Oh yeah, probably heat exchange.
Heat exchange recirculating mash system. Oh man, I almost was about to pause it, go look it up, and then
Todd is so glad that Tyler's here with us today, just to
Tyler,
fill in.
Did you want a job at Kekenetched? Because I'm about to lose mine when Todd.
Kinda, no.
Kind of, yeah, right. We the Brow Tog. We had a listener call us out because we were calling it the Brow Tag. The Brawl Talk, which means Brew Day. We're very excited about it. I'm looking forward to the talk. Again, though, I really wish we could have done it in person because, one, San Diego is incredible. Such a very cool beer city. And again, it would have gotten me to California. We've been trying to get to California the last few years, and COVID just threw a wrench in that. So we will talk about that because Tyler's been on the show. For people who haven't listened, I think you were like episode 198 or something. You weren't that long ago, or has it been that long ago?
It's been a minute, probably like, I
Over
don't
a
know, a
year?
year and a half.
It
or
was
something.
pre-COVID. Oh man, time flies,
Yeah.
guys. Time flies. To catch people up to speed, we had you. This was before y'all were doing your podcast that we had you on. I think at that point, y'all's club was featured by the AHA. Your Instagram is how I discovered you, and then Laurie, I started following you through your cider stuff. I think is how I found you. So we talked at first about how you do the Brew'd Up Podcast. Let's start with that. What is the Brew'd Up Podcast? How did it start? And what do y'all cover on this show? And why should our audience abandon us and just join your audience?
No, enhance the listening catalog.
Yeah,
with
there's
the
enough
Brew'd Up
of everybody.
Podcast. Yeah. Sorry, I just had a brain fart real quick. I didn't know how to speak for a minute.
No, it's cool. I'm drinking too.
Tyler, tell him.
Oh, okay. Well, so me and Laurie host a podcast called Brew'd Up. It's really fun. It's very informal, fun. But we get nerdy. We talk about home brewing. We talk about craft beer. We talk about cider. We have a lot of guests on too, which is fun, but it's really just supposed to be like a non-pretentious, brewing podcast, where, we don't claim to know everything. We know some things and we like to talk about those things, but we also like to have people on to talk to them about other stuff. So it's fun. We drink and laugh and talk and I don't know, tune in.
Y'all do. Y'all have great guests. I was say y'all show is entertaining. I think one of the feedback I get about our show, specifically when people are talking about me, is I like how you don't know anything and you're just accessible. And I'm like, oh, thank you for that backhanded compliment. But I like sourcing people who like I said, y'all know probably more than I know, but I like to source people who know what they're talking about as well, which every week is Todd and James. And that way, taking people's answers is a lot easier when it's not just me, you hear me on the keyboard, Googling something, but I do like it about y'all's show. It's very accessible, weekly, right? And y'all been doing it seasonal, right? Laurie is shaking her head. Go ahead.
So now it's actually every other week because doing it every week was a little stressful. And I don't know how you guys do it. But the first season was every week and now we're on our second season. The 15th episode actually aired yesterday. And we've gotten to every couple of weeks because it's just easier to manage,
Yeah, for sure. I think people don't realize too, like most of us in this space who don't just podcasting. Well, first off, homebrewing is a niche, right? This is like a super niche. And then podcasting is a niche. Podcast about homebrewing has got to be the most super niche. Like, I don't know. People think, because we have a homebrew club, the newly named Trub Club, which people join through our Patreon, and we're about to launch it on our own site. People think, oh, you've got these Patreon members, you must be rolling in it. Ugh, I would love to do podcasting for a living, but we all have day jobs. Like we all have to make money to pay the bills. And y'all are in California. I've only heard about the high bills, the high cost of living there. So
our bills are no joke.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
You cannot take a day off. Yeah,
exactly. And I try to, but Todd has his camera right above me, so I can't take it easy here.
My big brother is always watching. I love that.
Yeah, I'd like
Big Brother Todd.
He'd be less intimidating if it was a Big Brother kind of thing. No, he's a brutal dictator. But no, I'm kidding. He's just not here.
It seems like you have a fun job, though. I mean,
oh, I love it. Yeah, I can't complain. Well, again, though, that's a great segue. You're now full time in the industry. Is it Simi Valley Homebrew Shop? What's the name of it?
Yeah, it's called Simi Valley Homebrew Shop, and it's literally just a homebrew store in Simi Valley, California. But it's pretty big and kind of bougie. I mean,
I would call it like a homebrew store on crack. I'm not gonna lie.
I see him on Instagram. It is really nice.
It's
that
nice.
Setup.
It's in like a mall, and so it took over. I want to say it was like an American Eagle or something like that, like a clothing store. And I mean, just imagine like any like big retailer, but it was just all homebrew. Like everything's like shiny and clean, and display and it's just filled. It's not just like, some homebrew stores you walk in, it's gross and there's like a couple things stacked in the corner.
You're describing Cat
This
Connection.
is different. This is like, this is good.
People don't visit Cat Connection for that reason. Thanks, Laurie.
I didn't even know you guys had do you have a storefront for Cat Connection?
We do, but it's not, I mean, it's bare minimal because we're in the middle of nowhere, Texas. So it's a warehouse with some frill, a little bit of frill. We used to have a whole dedicated spot.
To be fair, Simi Valley it's kind of uppity. I don't want to not in a negative way, but yeah, it's a little bougie out there.
All of our Simi Valley audience just dropped off in there.
Yeah.
Now they're going to go write bad reviews about my podcast. Oh, the snobbiness about it. Do y'all ever, this whole episode, first off, I have to apologize. I already digress from anything. So if we're all over the place, one of y'all's gonna have to rein us in because Todd usually does that. And I won't
do that.
Okay.
No, we digress.
There.
I mean, if you listen to our episode, the crazy tangents.
I do.
Laurie goes on tangents a lot.
I love it
funny.
though. That's why
excuse me. Wow.
It's cute though. It's funny.
Sometimes it takes me I just want to I like to give the background and there's always an arc to the story. So
absolutely.
Tangents.
I can't get to the point of any story though, but and I don't even know where I was going with. I have a buddy who trains in Simi Valley, actually, jiu-jitsu. I think it's called Simi Valley BJJ. And it's also a very nice looking establishment.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
Correct. That is correct.
Wow.
Yeah. Brazilian. Yeah. It's the way that we wax ourselves before.
That's not capoeira. What's that?
Capoeira is like their dancing, kickboxing kind of thing, which is cool. That's also Brazilian. Or they would say the indigenous people, but when the Portuguese conquered them, they kept their martial arts through capoeira. So I don't even know if capoeira would say they're Brazilian.
Yes.
They're indigenous. But anyway, what I was going to say, I know where I was going with it. I was talking about bad feedback. Y'all have 5-star ratings on your podcast. I don't think I've ever seen a bad review on your show. I love and hate, mostly love some of the sincere, awful feedback I'll get in my inbox. Just because the amount of time someone will take to send me it, and I'm like, oh, like, what? You have nothing better with your life than to write someone who's a total stranger. This is stupid. But do you ever get feedback on your show that you're ever like, whoa, hey, come on, take it easy? Or has it been relatively positive? Because
we got kind of in the beginning, someone who we both really love when we were like drinking made a bit of it made a kind of a comment, and it was really hurtful. And I was very like, and it, you know what? But he was right. And he said something to the line of like, you might want to like Google something before you start talking about it. He was 100% right. He's not lying.
He's not wrong.
And it, it improved the podcast 1,000%.
Yeah.
But I was like, how dare you? But
we started doing this segment called listener feedback. I even made a bumper for it. Hold on, I think I can play it for y'all. Fiddle. It's time for listener feedback. Yeah, I know it was like 19 seconds to make that bumper.
Wait, will you make one for us? We need one for our home. What do we call it?
I know.
Sure.
Homebrew
update.
Yeah, but we want ours to be like soulful. Yours sounds kind of like barbershop.
Yeah. Well, is that a compliment?
Yeah, I'm just asking for like a different genre. That's all.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we'll work it out.
Okay, good.
Because we do have to do. We've been talking about doing an episode with y'all for tasting. Y'all sent us beer, and we sent you beer. We sent you drinkable
like 5 months ago.
I know.
In all fairness, that's when Texas became Antarctica temporarily.
It was. Oh, I think
it was very scary.
I got it out right before that happened, right? I think because you've been bugging. Y'all sent it on time, and then Tyler would message me very nicely on Instagram. hey, do you still want to do this episode? And I was like, oh yeah, we gotta get you the beer. I'm gonna be up there next week. And then I haven't actually been up in a couple weeks again. I was supposed to be up this week, and Todd had a medical emergency. I'm like, well, it's always about.
Be nice.
Oh yeah, I'm live. I can if it ends up being worse than we think it is, I'm gonna cut all this out so I don't look like a jerk. But if it's not, then I'll laugh at him. But we do want to have you on, and be on your show. Do a taste. And I don't know how we do that. Maybe we can just kill two birds. We'll do the episode. Y'all record it on your end. We'll record on ours, and we just publish it.
Yeah,
that's an idea.
We can work
that's
on
an
that.
idea.
I'll get us back on track for the things I had to talk about, though. Tyler, not to glance over you, we'll get back to you with your history as a home brewer. We had you on before. You're going over that. Laurie, you're brand new to the show. You're brand new to our audience. I know you as the cider lady, C Street's finest.
Queen, cider queen.
Cider queen. That sounds even, yeah. You are you're cider queen. We've had, I don't know if y'all have another California ciderist, Corey, Miss Cider. She comes on, and I've been following y'all. I still haven't made a cider. Give us your background, Laurie. I know, and I know how easy it can be, and I'm just that lazy. And maybe I keep saying like
that's free content. Why are you not just jumping all over the cider?
Because I'm not good at my job. I'm not good at my job.
Making a cider, talking about a cider, drinking a cider.
I'm not
and
good
losing your mind like, oh my gosh, why haven't I been doing this?
I know, because I'm not good at my job. But tell us a little bit about yourself and what led up to, you being in the Homebrew Club, the podcast. What is cider all you're brewing? All that good stuff about you.
So I started making cider maybe 2013, just from my husband did like a kit, and we were like, yeah, cool kit. And then I repurposed it for some cider, used some champagne yeast and juice, and I was hooked. And I am one of those people where if I do eat gluten, I love bread, but I have to limit it. So I was like, cider's perfect. Love this. Not as crazy as wine, big wine drinker. And then I'm in LA, so it's not like there's orchards all around. So the majority of my cider is just made from regular commercial store bought juice. And it was just really fun. Started sharing it on social media because that's what people do. And then was asked, like the president of the SoCal Cerveceros was like, hey, what's up? You should join this homebrew club. And I was like, A, I'm white, B, I make cider. And he was like, nah, it's all good. Like, this is all about inclusion. And I was like, rad. And so first meeting, I was like, whoa, I've met my people. Like, I haven't felt that connected since like art school. You know what I mean? Just finding something to talk about that's not your kids or your husband or, I'll talk about the Dodgers anyway. So that was really cool. And when you're an adult, it's like nice to have a hobby that's cool. So that's kind of how that led in. And then I met Tyler, rolled into one of our meetings one day, and I was like, oh, hello, who is this girl? And then I adopted her. We signed the papers, and that's that.
She's yours. Wow, this is fantastic.
Yes, I kept her.
Familial. I love that. I'm white and I made cider. Like, I would have loved to have been in that.
I was like, couple things real quick. But I was like looking at other homebrew clubs, and it wasn't like, no one was ever like, you're a woman, you can't join. But when you like look it up, it's like, did I really want to hang out with a bunch of like 60-year-old white men? Oh, no.
Wait, that's all I hang out with. That's, you just described Todd.
I was gonna say, you don't want to hang out with Todd?
No, like I do, Todd? But also, but now you know what? Those 60-year-old white men, and not all white, like those older brewers, that's where the money is. That's where you ask the question. Those are the people that are patient and like give you the sage advice. And I mean, our club is a lot of younger people. So when I do meet like an older person or someone who's been brewing for a while, I just like, I love having that person like in my schema of people,
Absolutely. Yeah. SoCal Cerveceros, all their Instagram stuff. I'm like, man, because I'll be 36 in November, and I feel like
He's a baby.
Yeah, kind of. I got the hairline of an older man and
Ooh.
the stamina and heart disease of a much older man. But I feel like when I watch their Instagram, I'm like, man, everyone's really young and hip. It seems like a really cool club, and y'all are still very active in it. Tyler, when COVID hit, California was, I'd say, one of the more affected states in regards to restrictions, right? Like y'all had more.
Oh yeah, LA County was like red zone.
That's what I mean. And so how did that affect the club in regards to, obviously maybe in-person meetings stopped, but the clubs never seemed to slow down in regards to their outreach and what they were doing online and all that. How did the club get through? Because I know, again, both y'all are very active in the SoCal Cerveceras.
Yeah, so I'm the membership director. I guess that's technically what it's called, and Laurie's actually the vice president. So we're on the board of directors for the club, which is great. But yeah, I mean, our in-person meetings, which were great, and I totally miss them, and we all still miss them. We're trying to figure out how to get that situated again because there's so many of us. I mean, the club is technically there's like over 100 active members, and before COVID, there was less. A lot of people actually joined during the pandemic, and they haven't even been to an in-person meeting. It's crazy. So in-person meetings stopped. We started doing virtual meetings, which surprisingly wasn't that weird because we're so spread out, right? There's people that are, and for people that don't know how Southern California is laid out, it's like we have people that are in San Diego all the way up to like Santa Barbara, and, a ton of people in LA County, but everyone's so spread out. And even in LA County, it takes an hour to get somewhere. So a lot of people were struggling to even go to the in-person meetings when we had them. So the virtual thing kind of actually became good for us because people who are out in the outskirts could finally join in on our meetings. And shout out to Laurie, because she's been doing a ton of work getting like breweries to come talk to us, getting people from like White Labs and, this Lars Garschel and all these crazy people to come and like, do educational seminars and stuff via virtual like Zoom. So it was, I mean, in that way, it almost brought us like closer together. It got more people in the club involved, which was nice. Like I said, we all miss in-person meetings and brew days, etc. But like just us all getting onto the Zoom, having a drink, talking shit, or learning was great. And I mean, it just worked. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It was just, I think our club, how it's structured, it just worked. The format worked for our club. So
that's awesome.
We also had like, we use a Slack network, which was very, very active before the pandemic. And that was kind of the core thread that kind of keeps people dialed into the club. I mean, you can get your email every month or whatever, but the Slack was good. You could ask a question and like literally get an answer, within a couple minutes, like just any kind of homebrew question. We have all these different channels. So that's been always a big part of our club. And like Tyler said, we are really spread out. The club is focused. It does have a Latino focus, but mostly just a focus on diversity and inclusivity. And also we're in Southern California, formerly Mexico, and you're in Texas. So, the vibe, like,
yes, formerly Mexico as well. Yes.
Yeah. Like here we are making beer. So I think, and our in-person meetings are great, but they are difficult. Before the pandemic, they were difficult to coordinate because we would need some place that would be willing to host X amount of people. Oh, and by the way, can we share our homebrew for educational purposes on the premises of your property? Or find someone who would host privately a lot of people. I mean, I've hosted, it just literally turns into a house party. So
That's not the worst
must
problem.
get trashed.
It's actually pretty good.
I was gonna say, that sounds great. God,
But
Yeah,
now
it's
we
pretty
can get
great.
trashed and not worried about driving
Yeah,
home. So
no
that's the best
driving.
part.
getting trashed. Now it makes me miss HomebrewCon even more because I was ready to get trashed with you guys in San Diego.
Dude, we are like, I'm like truly devastated about San Diego being canceled because like that was going to be our first in person. Me and Laurie are right here. We were going
I
to,
had a hotel room. We were going to go crazy.
we were going to get an RV, just drive it down, have RV parties.
Yes, not
Yeah.
anymore.
Not
Yeah.
anymore.
James and I
I
were
like
gonna.
canceled Father's Day week, and I was like, "Guess what? We're going to HomebrewCon."
Yeah. I next year is a lot further. I don't blame you if y'all don't want to go to Pittsburgh, because that's a heck of a distance and a flight and the rooms.
I mean,
and all that.
I went to Pittsburgh a couple of years ago. It was all right.
Are y'all planning next year for HomebrewCon then to be there or if
I'm down.
We shall see.
Ah, okay. Hey, that'd be cool.
We were not accepted into HomebrewCon this year.
What is that?
AHA.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like
We got this like rejection letter. I felt like I got rejected from college. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Wait, you mean like to give a
Definitely.
talk or for what?
Yeah,
No,
we
we
wanted
just
to
wanted to
host like a
host a
fun like happy
Oh,
hour.
Oh no! See, that's the thing. You don't wait for the official people to do it. You do your own thing, and then you tell everybody to come meet
Tyler,
you there.
Good point.
I get rejected by the AHA every day of my life for my ideas, but then I get Todd to present them in a nicer way, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we could do that. You can." Do
We
So wait,
were
Joshua,
very- oh.
Joshua, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna break into your seminar
that. Deal.
virtually.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, please do. Did y'all even watch ours last year?
I did.
Okay, I thought you did, Laura. That was the most attention we've ever had from people in a live setting. We do live streams every now and then for members of our homebrew club, and it might get up to like 100 people, like on a good live stream. But the AHA told us that one was pushing like. I'd have to look at my email. It was over 500 people that were watching it live, and I think it was pushing 800 something is what they'd
It
said.
was a super good topic, and it was like everyone's homebrewing now. Like everyone's like, I gotta make a fucking keezer right now. Like
Exactly.
these guys are gonna show me. It was really cool.
In the video, yeah, I got a great response. I'm hoping this year we get that same kind of thing. We're a little more niche again this year with Herms, because not like last year, we wholeheartedly think if you're brewing, you should be kegging. Not obviously we have a commercial bias because of the stuff we sell, draft beer, but we would sell bottling stuff, or we do sell bottling stuff. We would push it more if bottling was enjoyable. Sorry, bottling sucks. Is that all y'all do is bottle? What?
No, I know. I hate bottling. Laurie is a bottle conditioning like.
You're
guru.
crazy, Laurie. You're crazy.
I actually got up at 5:30 this morning because I was trying to bottle something last night, and I got lazy, and I like moved it around so much that I had to let it settle, and I don't have fermentation control, so I brought my fermenter outside to cold crash, and I was like, I'm gonna meet you tomorrow morning, and I like had stress dreams about bottling all night, and I woke up and I bottled, and it only took me an hour. I lost a gallon because I got angry, but
what do we gotta do to get you kegging? Are you bottling?
I
No,
can too.
she kegs, yeah.
Okay.
But she believes in like bottle conditioning and like the magic that happens in the bottle from bottle. It's true. Like if you
I'm a
listen to
witch.
our last.
Mhm.
If you listen to our last episode with Andy Carter, we did like an experiment where we all brewed a pale ale, and she actually took some of that and put it in bottles, and we tried it, and it was fucking good.
Everyone lost their mind. Mhm.
So
No.
Maybe it's just me. Some of my best beer. Well, I say bottling. I've bottled once traditionally with Todd. We recorded it for a video series because the only other times I've bottled have been from a Blickman beer gun. And so it's from the keg. That's not bottle conditioning at all. That's cross pressuring beer.
that's what I do. That's what I
Which-
do.
Yeah, counter pressuring, pardon me, and into the bottle. So it's not, what we did with Todd, it was a batch of it was just a pale ale as well. And not grapefruit pale ale. It was just a pale ale. And it was good. It was decent. I think some of the bottles ended up too carbonated. And I don't remember if one exploded in his barn or not, or that might have been a different batch.
Yeah,
but bottle bombs
that does
terrifies me.
happen.
I was gonna say, but that's one of the other reasons too. I'm terrified of high pressured vessels, which is difficult in this industry to be terrified of. But when Todd was showing me how easy it is to make soda with a 2-liter plastic bottle, he was putting it in my face and going, "Oh, look at the pressure." And I just have PTSD from balloons as a kid or something. I don't know.
Actually, sometimes naturally condition in a keg with priming and put it in the keg and don't force carb.
You've done that
I do it all the time
with good results.
with great results.
Oh,
It's actually
see?
better than a bottle. You won't get a bottle bomb. You just release the press, cold crash it, let it settle, and
We need
Enjoy.
to look. What? You give us the terms of payment for. You write an article for homebrewhappyhour.com on,
sure.
Oh yeah,
on natural
you
conditioning
should.
in a keg.
I highly recommend it. And you know what else? Also there's a CO2 shortage. So I think it's actually, I mean, one thing I struggle with kegging is getting the tank in the fridge with, all of the whole thing. I do burst carbing, which is also a hot mess. And I think that naturally conditioning for naturally carbonating your beers is so easy.
And
Yeah,
then you
I
just-
think there's beers that definitely benefit from it. I think.
Yeah, some of the British milds, maybe I can think off the top of my head, might benefit good from natural conditioning in a keg.
Saisons,
You're coming.
Belgians,
Yeah, again, yeah. Those are not styles I'm uber familiar
sour
with.
beers.
Oh, I love those. Oh, let's just talk the rest of the show about sours.
Are you being facetious?
Very, for sure. Are you making fun of my speech impediment?
Oh, no, not at all. Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding.
That was my speech impediment.
I'm
Give me a break.
No, you're not Todd and James. I like to play victim every now and then.
Wait, you were going to tell me what you were drinking earlier, and then Tyler interrupted you.
Oh, right. What I'm drinking right now?
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. My brain.
No. It's not what I usually drink. It's this German Frucht.
Have you ever heard of it?
Fruchtkolsch. I don't know if anyone's heard of it.
Kolsch?
And hold on though, my second drink that I brought, just to change it up, I brought Reisdorf Kolsch as well. So I'm very prepared for the evening with y'all to diversify my palate.
It's a double Kolsch night.
It usually is. My beer fridge is full. That we'll segue into that because that was going to be one of my questions coming up. My beer fridge is always full of pretty much a case of fruit, usually maybe 12-pack-ish of Reisdorf because fruit isn't always available when I want it. And so I have to have backup Kolsch. And then random, I still have a nitro variety pack of Left Hand in there. Their Galactic Cowboy is real good.
I've seen you post that Left Hand, the nitro. Is there a little widget in that can?
There are widgets.
I love
in
that.
It. Yeah, I do too. And I like it
I
too.
love that for you.
Just pouring it straight over like that. And it cascades. And when you're already kind of tipsy, you're just, staring at it. And,
I go crazy. I go love like a Boddington's can with the flow. I lose my mind.
But what is y'all's beer? Let's not even talk about homebrew first. What does y'all's beer fridge look like? And then we'll talk about what y'all been brewing lately. And I'm really interested to get into what you're brewing on because Tyler, your setup, from what I see, looks way nicer than the last time we had you on the show. Like you've upgraded. So let's start with the beer fridge though. Laurie, we'll start with you. What is in your fridge? And we can include homebrew. What's always in your fridge or what's in your fridge right now?
Wow. In my fridge, I have a little bit left of a keg of, I don't have a Keyser. I need to watch your video again, turn it on its head, blah, blah, blah. But I have like a mini fridge with kegs in it that I pull out and pull off of. I love it. So I want to talk about it for a sec. It was inspired by a Roggen beer. And I also wanted to make a blonde. So then I merged the recipes. So it's got like half Pilsen, actually 60% Pilsen, 40%-ish, maybe 35% rye, domestic US hops, kind of hoppy like an American blonde, and then Haifa whites and yeast. And I'm very, very happy with it. I thought I didn't like Haifa whites and yeast, but I am into it.
What a combination. I want to talk about this now too. Wait, so it's a rye blonde, a very estery rye blonde.
Yes.
Really?
I love her.
not saying you might have been drinking when you came up with this recipe,
Yes.
but were you drinking when you came up with this recipe?
So usually my recipes start with like, what do I want to put in my mouth? And then I think I was just like scrolling the historical beer category because I like to get weird. And I'm, beer nerd, forever studying for the BCJP. So BJCP. See, I can't even take it because I can't even say it. And
BJ.
that just
think
kind of
BJ.
Yeah, BJ.
CP.
CP. Yes.
CP. And that's what came together. When I was reading the style guide and I read for Rogan beer or Roggen beer, I mean, come at me, DM me. You get down in deeper and like ingredients, it's like Bavarian Hefeweizen. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I always think it'd be cool to have just like half rye. Because I'm a home brewer. I could do a half rye and not really suffer too much if I'm only doing like 5 gallons. And then I got the Bavarian Hef, and there we are. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. See, we have to pay you to post that recipe on Homebrew Happy Hour.
I'll post it. I'm going to be evangelical about it.
Put it on.
I tasted it. It was really good.
I was about to ask for validation because it's one thing. Look, I've brewed beer with my pop where we're done and we're like, this is good. And then I bring it to Todd and James and they deconstruct it. And then that footage of recipe recap is deleted because I have a coincidental hard drive malfunction or something, and it can't ever get published because of the mean things that Todd said about me and the beer I brewed. But
wow.
But you've tried her beer. You're saying right now, Tyler, that it was good. It actually, I just can't. I'm trying to picture. I'm not against rye beer or rye drinks in general. I love rye whiskey.
Lean into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm trying to get my head around the ester.
I think you have to try it. It's not something you can like wrap your head around without like drinking it,
Because I can make a beer with esters. Look, I do that all the time. Not on purpose, but I can do it. I still haven't made a good Kolsch in like 2 years. And that's so hard.
I've had 2 Kolsch fails.
Have you?
I don't even want to talk about it on air. So
I don't either. We should stop there. I don't want to talk about my Kolsch failures, but I always bring it up.
I've never tried a Kolsch, but like from everyone I've talked to, it's difficult to like. But why? What is difficult?
Because maybe it's because it's so straightforward. Every flaw comes to the front. Like that's James swears alt beer is the most difficult beer in the world to brew because of its simplicity and how some people make it way too sweet, or some people make it way too dry, or they make it way too hop forwardness. And if you go, obviously it's all subjective, right? If you go to Dusseldorf and you go down that mile and a half of bars and they all have their own version of alt, you can still tell at every bar, this is alt beer. This one's a little bit sweeter, but it's still alt beer. Some of the beers commercially released in the United States that say alt beer, you drink them, you're like, that's not alt beer. It's just not alt beer. It's not. Not to be a snob, it's just not. It's an amber. Call it an amber. There you go. But it's not an alt beer. And so I don't even try. My dad and I brewed an extract alt beer, and it turned out decent. It was James's recipe. I'm too scared to brew alt beer. James has terrified me. We're going to try to do, we did the Kolsch Cup, and that went great, getting 60 people to send us beer. Life is good, guys.
I actually tried to brew for that, and
what? You should.
No, thank you.
Oh, is this part of the Kolsch story you don't want to talk about?
We did not do so well.
Some people who sent them in,
animal.
But you know what? Some people sent theirs in that also had some flaws that were forward, and we told them what we found. Like, yeah, I tasted that too, but I just wanted to get it in because I had already entered, and it's like, that good for you. I mean, because that how I think it takes courage for someone, or you have to be vulnerable when you brew something. You put your work into it and you send it out for someone to judge. I've never done that. James has done it, and they told him mean things about like, this is not the style, and this, and I know, I think they were exaggerating because I drank the beer that he sent in the day before. He bottled it and then took it there to Austin, and they're like, oh, the bottle obviously has infections in it. Bleh. I was like, there's no way. They labeled the wrong bottle for sure.
Hold on. Yeah. Listen, you got to slow down with the they. What are the they?
The judges. The judges.
Okay. They're judging to style. And let's say you're just like, okay, that doesn't mean they're not saying it's a good beer.
No, I think they wrote on there, this is not a good beer. And yeah.
With the infected bottle thing though, like imagine you're about to drink a beer and you look at it and there's like goobers up inside it. Would you want to drink it?
No, they got the wrong bottles, what I'm telling you. There was no way. They had to have gotten the wrong bottle. There was no way an infection could have formed in this bottle in the 18 hours between bottling it and submitting it. I think it's biologically impossible. I'm no scientist.
I mean,
so the judges are actually not supposed to be mean. They're supposed to be nice.
They weren't mean. We're soft.
But I honestly, I can't imagine James like sending an infected bottle.
That's what I'm
He's like
saying.
Such a perfectionist.
So instead of doing those competitions, now we're just hosting our own. Yeah, that's how you.
Perfect.
You fix the system that way.
I'm gonna try and brew a Kolsch. Because I've been meaning to. It's been in the back of my brain.
I'm surprised you haven't yet. And you're great with lagers, so this should be no big deal for you.
I mean, I don't know. I have temperature control. That's all I have going for me.
Is that what it means? Like, you're great with lagers means you have temperature control.
I mean, I don't know.
A big part of the equation. She's got the touch. She gets the yeast starter. Excuse me. Don't shake your head at me. She knows I don't do yeast. She knows how to do a yeast starter. She's very professional. Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to make a yeast starter?
Yeah.
I'm very advanced.
Part of it. She never over pitches. Her stuff is.
That is one thing I've never
crispy.
done. I've still never made a yeast starter.
I haven't it's so had to. Easy.
I know, but we use Imperial and they sponsor us and give us free yeast. So I don't have to make a starter.
But if you're lagering a beer, you got to make sure that yeast is like.
I just throw in
I was gonna say the only time I've made a starter with Imperial yeast was for that lager because you're supposed to pitch double the amount. But when I see people making starters with Imperial yeast, I'm like,
yeah, you're talking about for normal ales. For normal ale, it's like, you don't need to, especially with the pack. Like most retailers send you out a pretty fresh pack. And if it's just a normal ale, or I say normal, if it's any kind of ale, you're usually pretty good with just a pack if you're doing a 5-gallon batch.
It's a double pitch. It's a double pitch. You should be good up to like 1070, 1080. Good.
I like that y'all are buttering up Imperial too. Do they sponsor your podcast yet?
Not yet.
Hit them up. Name drop me. Wait, hold on. Name drop Todd. Don't name drop me. Name drop Todd. I don't know.
I mean, they slid into our DMs, so.
Oh, golly. See, I had to reach out to them. Oh, no, they would. Owen, I'm telling you, you really should have them. You should talk to them because they love this space and they love reaching people through podcasts. And we've talked about it on this show many a times that we don't push them. We were basically pushing them before they ever talk to us about sponsoring the show. Like, we believe in their products. And one thing I say on the show all the time too is how great it is to be a home brewer right now in the time we're all alive, because Imperial is amazing and we love them and we think they're the best, but there's so many good providers of, like, White Labs is they have phenomenal stuff. Y Yeast. I've heard good things about
Omega
Bootleg.
Fermented. The yeast innovation these days is like,
isn't it crazy?
It's really catching a stride. There's so many different things you can do.
It really is. It's a great time to be alive, and I say that way too frequently on here, but as a home brewer specifically, I guess it's a good time to be alive anyway. I mean, we have the internet and booze.
I love the internet.
Yeah. I love booze.
I love booze. Moving on. Like I said before, last time we had Tyler on, we kind of talked about, what your goals would be. And it seems like you're kind of working your way towards that with being full-time at a homebrew shop. But one of the other things we had talked about was, what would you like to be brewing on? Because back then your setup, now off the top of my head, I don't remember if you were doing brewing a bag or how you were brewing, but I see your setup now on Instagram and it looks like you're doing kegel brewing, you're doing recirculation and you have definitely upgraded. So talk about the equipment you're using and even like a wish list for both of y'all of equipment you'd love to be using if budgetary concerns weren't a thing.
Yeah, so I think I finally have reached my system that I like. I think the last time we spoke, I think I was doing, no. I would do brew in the bag with smaller batches, but I've been using that cooler for like, since I started homebrewing for the most part. So I've got the cooler for a mash tun, but what I think I was doing was, I had like an 8.5 gallon Bayou Classic pot, which is what I was boiling in. And I still have it, but now that's my hot liquor tank, I guess, quote unquote. That's where I hold my sparge water after I've heated it up. But currently right now I have a 15 gallon Bayou Classic pot. I don't have the kegel anymore because as awesome and as cool as that looked, that thing is like really fucking clunky and heavy and like hard to clean. And there wasn't that much space for it. So I just decided to get a 15 gallon Bayou Classic. So that's like my main boil kettle. There's a whirlpool arm in there. There's like a side dip tube thing. And then I'm using a rims tube to keep my mash temperature stable because I was having issues with that. Even though I have a cooler, I would mash in, the temperature would be lower. And I'd be like, so I had to add water, So I got the rims tube so that I can regulate the mash temperature better and also do like a recirculation during the mash, which like, helps with like clarification and other things like that. And so I'm still on propane. I love propane. I haven't gone electric yet, but yeah, that's basically my system. And I think I'm good. I think I'm good with this system.
Propane and Propane Accessories.
Yeah.
My dad and I still do. Outdoor brewing on gas, and I think though, like, I'm gonna sound like a company shill. After I had my first brew day on the new 3-vessel Herms, the Brow Tag, if you haven't heard, and I was instantly made a believer. It was my first full brew day on it, not being behind a camera or just an observer, because that's basically when Todd and James are brewing, they're really into it and they're doing it. I don't want to take that away from them. I'm doing other stuff, checking.
Wait, how long have you been brewing?
Yeah, well, I've 13 years, give or take.
Oh wow!
Because I started with Todd when I started with the company, which I just had my 13th anniversary with the company.
Hold on. You started working for a homebrew supply company and then you started homebrewing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love that.
Our listeners will hate I've probably told this story before, and anyone who stuck around on this episode, so sorry if y'all don't want to hear the story again. No, I started working for Todd from a Craigslist ad that said hiring
sketchy.
Oh yeah. It was
in
the M to M part of, I don't even know what I was doing in that part of Craigslist. And Todd, the ad was written by his then only employee, a guy named Ben, who left the company.
It's like, help me.
Yeah, it was like, hey, we need help with the keg washer for an internet company selling draft beer equipment. And I was working for a nonprofit. I was newly married. My wife was a full-time student. I was making $5.15 an hour at this nonprofit. And I think Todd was paying $7.25 to wash kegs in 2008. And so I was like, oh, yeah, I could do that. And
I love that, Todd. Good boss.
I didn't actually want to do the manual labor part. I just wanted the internet part because I was like, he's going to need someone. I was really into graphic design and web development at the time. And at my interview, I told him, I said, look, I'll do the manual labor. I'm going to hate it. You're going to hate it. It's but if you're growing like you say you're growing, I'd like to get in at the ground level with you and learn it. And then when we're big enough to get other help, I can spend some of the time washing kegs still, and then I can come inside the rest of the day and do web development and graphic design. And thankfully, I charmed his wife because she believed me. She fell for it, and they hired me. And yeah, I was not interested in brewing at the time because my whole mindset was, look, I'm lazy, and I know some people think that's my shtick, but it's a reality. I was thinking there are people out there who sell commercial beer is better than anything I can make, so why even bother trying? And it was a very short-sighted mindset because I didn't realize the enjoyment I get from a brew day. Like, the end product isn't always the best part for me of brewing, if that makes sense. Like,
isn't brewing fun though?
Brewing's
like the process.
fun. And also though, my dad's basically become my best friend through brewing. Like, I've always liked him enough, but he's, you know, like brewing though is a thing we do to bond. He and I, and we enjoy it. And
That's
it's a
cool.
whole family day, and my kids are there. Hopefully, ideally, I'd get my oldest, who's about to be 11, her involved in the process, you know,
Mhm. Teach them young.
teach them young brewing. Women traditionally have always
Yes.
been the better brewers in our society, like since the beginnings of brewing. So I think, like I said, the experience of brewing, I wish I would have grasped onto sooner. Early days, I brewed with Todd because he was like, hey, we might start selling this stuff. You need to learn how to do it. Okay, boss, whatever. You know, we did some extract recipes in his kitchen. He swears we did all grain in his kitchen. I was like, how did we do what? No, we didn't. They were
You
extract.
boiled it up. You put it in a bag.
Yeah, I don't think we did, because I don't
He doesn't
remember. I don't, but I don't.
I remember watching, you guys had that all grain video that you shot, like maybe what was like back then, like the barn, but it was like the cooler system.
Yep. Yeah, that was the,
And I
that
was
was
like,
the barn.
I
Yeah,
wanna
that
do
is
that.
the
I wanna
barn.
do
Hold on, Josh. I take issue with something you said
Oh, no.
a couple minutes, like just recently. You were like, I could never make something as good as commercial brew, but I just want to point out, if you were to take like all the commercial brew you've consumed
Sure.
and all the home, at least for me,
Yeah.
all the commercial brew I've consumed versus all the home, I've had some of the most exquisite beers that I've ever had have been made in someone's house.
Sure.
I'm just going to leave it that.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Commercial brew is fine. You
You're
can
not-
drink it. It's
you're-
a Coca-Cola
yeah.
for adults.
You're not
Fine.
wrong. I'm just saying, for me, anecdotally speaking, it's like my kids. Yeah, my kids are the best looking and the best kids ever. But I
gotcha.
have, yeah. So that's how I probably feel about my beer. I feel like I might have parent blinders on my beer, because I have, like, the breakfast stout that we make, my dad and I think is the best imperial coffee stout in the world. I mean, but
sounds
it's not my
delicious.
recipe. It's Lorena Evans, who y'all need to have her on your show. You really,
I know.
Lorena,
I've been
and she would
thinking
do
about
it.
that.
She's my absolute favorite person in the industry. She's such a blast. But it's her recipe, and it just kills. And so I wholeheartedly, because I've had validation from other people who've had it, and oh, this is incredible. I'm like, whew, okay, so that one's probably legitimately good. But now try this, and they're like, that's interesting. I'm like, see, I thought it was.
You know, you can't win them all. You know, that's what I've learned.
Can't
Like
win them all.
half the beers I make, I'm like, this sucks. I hate it. But some of the beers, I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're right. And that's a good segue to what are the styles y'all are brewing nowadays? I mean, y'all are probably more eclectic than your like a lot of brewers that we talk to in our club or even on this show kind of dial in 2 or 3 recipes where they know this is the recipe I'm brewing consistently, and then I'll experiment. Do y'all have a recipe each that this is dialed in, it's almost always on tap, and this is what I'm known for? We'll start with Tyler.
Oh God. You know, I'm really, really trying so hard to get there with like a cream ale recipe, which actually I sent you guys. So I guess
Which
that was
actually
that
has
was
won first place before. So stop.
no, not the cream ale. Cream ale hasn't won anything.
Okay, my
The-
bad. I'm gonna bring it back. Sorry.
It did get good feedback, but no, the coffee porter is the one that
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
the mangoza that we've done, that me and Laurie did, actually we sent you some of that too.
You did.
That one is pretty much dialed in. I mean, we could brew it over and over and it's fine, tastes the same. The coffee porter is good. I haven't brewed it again on this system, so I'm gonna probably do that soon. But the cream ale, I really want to dial in because it's like you don't have to lager it. It's super crispy and definitely like 100% lawnmower beer, which is like, I love that. And lagers are great, but they take forever to like condition and taste really good. And the cream ale, you know, it needs to sit for a little bit, but not as long. So I'm hoping the cream ale becomes the staple at the house.
And it is cream ale weather. It is getting to be some cream ale weather. Laurie, what about you? I know, again, you're cider queen. I will never get that wrong again. Is cider what you tend to focus on for your, like, quote, house recipe, or do you go back and forth with beer? Like, what are you dialed in on for recipes?
I'm really getting into beer, but I always have a cider. I've got a ton of cider. I will always have something with like just regular apple juice and Red Star, Premier Cuvée, or Côte de Blanc in a bottle somewhere. I make that a couple times a year. But for me, getting involved with our homebrew club and then trying to get like the girl brew group together, I was kind of like you. Like I had brewed like an extract, like a 1 gallon here and there, but doing it on a larger system or all grain, being a cider person, and also like either hosting or organizing, I really would just like disconnect. I'm very ADD. And when I notice that someone else is like dialed in and paying attention, I'm like, okay, cool, I'll take a break. And I feel like Josh, you and I are kind of like bouncing
Spirit
off
animals.
the walls sometimes during brew days.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I started really getting into it during the pandemic. So I brewed a bunch with groups, but then doing it alone, started brewing in the bag. And then BSG, the Grainfather, reached out when we started the pod, or actually, yeah, they did. They reached out to us, and I was, blessed. Praise him. We got like a Grainfather, like the complete thing. It like showed up on my doorstep like this. It was like adult Christmas. I had a heart attack, and Tyler's like, well, go for it. So love you, Tyler. So I've been going hard on the Grainfather, and it's been like, that's how I've been learning, is just been like,
yeah,
I was given this expensive equipment and I need to do it. And
it's such a nice piece of equipment.
She's been doing it.
I've been hitting it pretty hard. I love a dark mild, and I feel like my dark mild recipe is very good. And I make hoppy beers for my husband, a pale ale here and there. And I think the Roggen Blonde, I think it's going to come back.
Someone will email me and tell me how to pronounce Roggen beer. I always said Roggen beer and Roggen beer. I don't know how to say it.
We have
Guess
no
what?
idea.
I'm from California. I don't know. I don't even know how to act. So
I love that. Yeah, the Grainfather. First off, shout out to them. They're what a cool piece of equipment. And I know, the Anvil Foundry has been really hot lately. Like it's like Blickman they can't even keep up with orders. And the Mash and Boil and the Robo Brew and the Brewzilla. I always tell people, look, if you have the budget, the Grainfather, you feel like you get what you paid for when you have it. Like all the features of it, especially the Connect, like the technology they use for the Bluetooth connectivity.
The G30 Connect it's
so
insane.
cool. It is.
And I'm just like you, like I've got all these pots and all these fermenters, and I had told this to Tyler, like I would sell everything and just buy it, like save up for a couple months, not drink any beer. I didn't make.
Yeah. I don't know about all that.
That's the key.
I would have to email BSG all jealous now, like, hey, why did I have to pay for
If you're paying for beer and you homebrew and you're on the edge, get a Grainfather and you can crank those suckers out, and you'll stop paying for beer, and then you'll pay it forward with.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
Great, yeah.
I would like to say I am like so pro electric all-in-one systems.
Mm-hmm.
I just like to torture myself when it comes to brewing.
Masochist.
And I'm a full-blown homebrewing masochist. So I want to do everything the hard way, but I also like, I don't know, there's something about the 3-vessel system that I like the nuances, I guess, about it. And I'm probably similar to like Todd and James in that sense, where like, there is something about it that I'm attached to. And I also can't get 220V at my apartment. And I don't think I have the patience for 110. So
I think honestly, Tyler understands the process so much deeper than I do. And I think that's why that system works for her, because she has way more control over it. For me, I'm like, we're going to put the cereal in the water and we're going to drink beer in a couple of weeks. That's just kind of my approach. I don't write things down. I'm very inconsistent.
We are spirit animals. This is fantastic.
Totally.
You guys are like, y'all are twins. I'm a psycho. I get it.
No, I can't
Tyler,
even
though, there's a lot of value to having a system dialed in, because that's what, like, I feel like my dad and I's best beer is on our cooler brew system because for whatever reason, we just have that system more figured out. We had the Spite Solo prototype, which the new retail release is much better than the prototype we got, where we've had a couple failed brew days on that. We had an iffy kind of brew day on the Foundry. All of it's user error, by the way. I'm very willing to admit that, but there's something to be said when you have the way you like to brew dialed in. That's very valuable. And switching from that, you're like, is it worth the effort to try to dial in a new system, or I can just keep doing it how I'm doing it? I already have the equipment. So, which is kind of segueing to one of my final questions for y'all. We did this last time I had Tyler on. What are, like, if you could have whatever setup, and even if it was like, I want to be a commercial brewer, like what would you prefer to be brewing on if you had it your way and no budgetary constraints? Tyler, we'll start with you again.
Well, there's this really cool system called the Browd Tag.
Oh, here we go.
I paid her to say that.
I know. One's on the way, right? To LA?
Yeah.
No,
I like that. Oh, that's good.
There we go.
Truthfully, I am, like I said, I'm actually finally okay with my setup. It's still kind of DIY / there's some like kind of technical components about it. I also have a really cool fermenter that I got as a gift from my job, Simi Valley Homebrew. So I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I think I finally am at up. It took 3 years to get there.
You're content. I like that.
I know. I'm content.
That's
and it's so
zen.
funny because like my friends will tell you like, because I've had issues dialing in my system for like the past half a year. And they're like, you keep adding shit. That's why. And I'm like, I know, but I'm so close to like exactly what I want. But yeah, I think I'm there. So
that's fantastic. Well, Laurie, what about you? Because you like, I don't want to keep giving you a hard time about bottle conditioning because you like that, whatever, weird. But like, if you had your dream setup that could fit in your home, like what would you be brewing on? Or are you also content? Like, I like what I got going right now.
I really like what I have going on. And I think it goes back to like the overall, like brewing is a craft, right? I'm a ceramics teacher. I'm a ceramicist. Ceramics is a craft. Teaching is a craft. It's something that you can really tweak and enjoy and get good at when you've been doing it for a super long time, a certain way. Like it's having the process within you can be creative. And I'm like Tyler, like, you know, when you mix it up, you kind of, you know, reroute everything and it becomes different. I really love the Grainfather. If I were to add one more thing to the brewery, I kind of want like, when I do hoppy beers, I feel like the pump situation gets crazy. So maybe like, what are they called? Hop
spiders, hop baskets, hop rockets, hop spiders.
Yeah. Or I would maybe be down for a bottling gun because I love bottle conditioning, but bottling does suck. I will give that to you. So naturally conditioning in a keg, and then I guess bottling from that would be cool. That would be my next
y'all are
thing.
both like so content. Usually when I ask that question, people are like, one day I'm going to be a pro brewer, you see? And it's going to be on a...
Josh, I'm telling you, like you decided to ask me this question like right at the right moment. Because I'm telling you, I've been miserable for months.
But now you're happy. You have found your happy place.
Now I'm hitting my numbers. The beer tastes good. And yeah, I'm good.
And as a club, do y'all ever pool your resources for the nicer gear? Or does everyone kind of just have their own gear?
I think everyone just kind of has their own thing, huh? Like
some people went on a canner once.
Yeah, the October
there's like
canner.
a couple of brewers that share a canner.
Okay.
That's actually in my room right now. It wasn't me. I stole it. So.
I didn't even go in on it, and here it is. I'm a big fan of spending Todd's money on the stuff I want. So
I love that. I want to spend Todd's money.
When that dries up, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You're screwed.
I'm screwed. I'm gonna have to bet. Yeah, BSG. Can I have stuff? I'll say no. You can't. We listen to
just keep name dropping, and you know things will end up at your doorstep.
Yeah, just keep they don't know we don't have any listeners. This is all pretend. I'm telling you, it's my family. They're the only ones listening. All right, wrapping it up because I've taken so much of your time. Again, first off, thank you all so much for doing this last minute. I greatly appreciate it. I was great meeting you finally, Laurie. We've interacted on Instagram, but that's not the same as this totally in real life Zoom chat.
Yes.
And Tyler, it was so much fun catching up with you. How can what's the best way for them to keep up with Brew'd Up, which is a bi-weekly podcast? I mistakenly said weekly in season 2. Is how many episodes y'all have left of season 2, and what's the best way for people to keep up with what y'all are doing? And if you want to name drop your own personal Instagrams or if you have websites, now is the time. Laurie, I'll let you start it.
I'm sorry, I forgot the question. Just kidding. Yeah, the Instagram for the podcast.
You blacked out.
I'm back. Is Brew'd Up Podcast on Instagram. And let's see. We're on most major platforms. If you just look up Brew'd Up. Someone started a podcast after ours. It is the Brew'd Deck. So sometimes they come up. Anyway.
But also Brew'd is spelled differently. It's
yeah. We're sort of slang. BREW''D. So we bypass the E straight to the apostrophe D. Sorry, I've been drinking wine.
I like that apology. Oh, I'm so sorry, Virginia.
And you can find me personally, C Street's Finest, cider made in Los Angeles, and check us out. SoCal Cerveceras. We're gonna have. Actually, we have our first group Lady Brew Day coming up, Memorial Day, called Vaxxed to the Max. We're going to brew a Sam Adams summer clone, renaming it Vaxxed to the Max. And so we're excited to get together.
That's awesome. Is that the first in-person brew day y'all have had since COVID lockdown?
Yes. And once all the guys find out, they're going to be so ticked. So I kind of can't wait.
I kind of can't wait. That's fantastic. And Tyler, how can people keep up with you if they want to learn more about what you're doing and your work too? Feel free to plug them.
Yeah, sure. My Instagram is Tyler's Brew, TYLERS Brew, spelled with an E. And you can follow me on Instagram. I don't really have any other social medias besides that. And my job's Instagram is Simi Homebrew, SIMI. So pretty easy.
If you want to see,
I have one more thing to add. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Go for it.
I started an all women's Facebook homebrew club.
Awesome.
And we're trying.
Is it open? Is it public or?
It's private.
Okay.
So if your name is like Joshua, I'm not going to let you. I'm going to decline that.
How dare you? I get it though.
Men still try to join. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But if you're a woman and you're homebrewing, join us. We're called Modern Brewsters, a women's homebrewing network on Facebook, and let's get together.
I will say to wrap it up, I love we've had Annie Johnson on the show. I don't know if y'all had the pleasure of meeting Annie. She was the Homebrew Association's Homebrewer of the Year, 2012 or we interviewed her at a HomebrewCon many years ago, and she gave us the whole history. I mean, women were the brewers back when beer brewing first started, because that was the role, the familial role kind of, and historically women have been very good at brewing, and it's just until recently that we see this resurgence on the home brewing scene. At least I can't speak for microbreweries or craft breweries or macro breweries even, of what their brew team looks like, because a lot of that's not public, but it's really cool seeing this huge resurgence of just all these women really interested in brewing, not just an interest in craft beer, but fermentation, brewing in general. It's super cool because it makes HomebrewCon smell better when we have more women come. It's not all the same musk of my Axe body spray at the Care Connection booth. But anyway, I appreciate I want to end it on a high note, guys. Thank y'all so much for doing
Thanks
it.
for saying that we smell good.
Yeah, well, in my experience, the women in my life all smell better than I do. I just got home. I have to go shower. I was just training jujitsu. I have all this man sweat on me. I wiped down because I didn't want to be too gross, but I stink. So I'm projecting on every other male.
I'm glad
brewer.
this is a Zoom situation right now.
Oh yeah, I am
Telling me
too.
all that.
I am too, because I'm not wearing pants either. But anyway, thank y'all for coming on the show. We're gonna do a tasting with y'all. We're gonna do a joint episode in the future, hopefully the near
Let's
future.
do it.
Fingers crossed that Todd's whole thing goes well, so that he can start drinking sooner than later. Because I didn't want to do the episode without Todd and James, because you sent all that beer for
I don't want it. If Todd isn't drinking my cider,
Yeah,
don't
we can't.
want
We can't do it. I agree. I completely agree. So,
which, by the
again,
way,
Todd,
I'm afraid.
everyone send your prayers to Todd's medical.
Todd, we're sending your prayers to you.
Exactly. So, anyways, thank y'all so much for doing the show. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question that you would like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsor, tintackers.com, for supporting us and the home brewing community. Go to tintackers.com, use our promo code HOMEBREWER, and save some money on your order. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.